Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on YouTube and TikTok platforms. I'm Mr. Clay, and walk with me. We're in Leviticus Chapter 25, and we're going to sum it up starting with Leviticus Chapter 25 and verse 23. Yes. But first, let us pray. O most holy Creator, we thank you for everything that you've done. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your favor. We thank you that you are going to establish the government that you started, even in the time of Moses when you've chosen Jacob. Yes, and we have failed you miserably during that time. And today we have such a test that's going on that is taxing everyone. People are turning away. People are losing their faith. People are calling themselves different names. They're following other nations, other spirits, other idols and everything. Yes, you are proving us even in this time that if we would stand with you or not through eternity, and we don't get it. But oh, most holy, for those, you said there's a remnant. Even of the Gentiles, there are those who would follow you. It doesn't matter what the other thinks, but we follow you. We give you the glory. It's sad to see that people have such a mindset of rebellion and such ridiculousness of mind, but we know those things are to be, and we thank you and we praise you for all things. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Mr. Clay, and we're in Leviticus chapter 25, starting with verse 23. This is the second part of this. It's a pretty long chapter. The 25th chapter of Leviticus, verse 23 is where we're starting. Now, if you want to learn, if you want to go back over the other chapters, there are other posts that I have, and the previous post covers that, and the other posts that I have. If you want to go through the whole book of Moses, you can I started from Revelations. You can go all the way back into my archives, back to Revelation, and work your way back up. I've done this daily, and I'm just here to help you read the truth, what the Bible says. Yes, and let us go. No exchange of land may be forever, for the land is mine, and you are as my guest, living with me for a time. Now, the translators put it this way for you to understand what the Most High is saying. Now, no exchange of land may be forever. In other words, you're not going to be here forever. You're going to die, to put it plainly. Whether you die before or after or whatever, it's a matter of when and how. You are going to die. You are going to separate from your flesh. Yes. And he said, because no exchange of land may be forever, for the land is mine. You are as my guest, living with me for a time. Get that, colonizer. You took the land, but it's only for a certain amount of time. You've lived on this land and you've lived lavishly, but it's only for a certain amount of time. You've caused even the indigenous of this land to suffer even greatly before the Most High. You've caused those things. But the fact is, he said, you are as my guest, living with me. Isn't the Most High? He's gorgeous. He's wise. Wherever there is property in land, the owner is to have the right of giving it back. In other words, to whom it was allotted to. You had three tribes, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Yes. And then from there you had the families that took the land in different areas. Now, if your brother becomes poor and has to give up some of his land for money, his nearest relation may come and get back that land which was his brother has given up. And if he has no one to get it back for him, later he himself gets wealth, he has enough money to get it back. Then let him take into account the years from the time he gave it up and make up the loss for the rest of the years to him who took it. So get back his property. So give back his property is what he's saying. But if he is not able to get it back for himself, then it will be kept by him who gave a price for it till the year of Jubilee. In other words, you can buy the land, you can buy it back, but if you don't have enough, then you have to wait till the year of Jubilee. That's 49 years. And in that year, it will go back to its first owner, the one who first was there. and he will have his property again. Who was the first owner of the United States? Who was the first one that settled in this United States that God had given to him, even South America? Some of you don't belong here. Now, if a man gives his house in a walled town for money, he has the right to get it back for the space of a full year after he has given it up. Now, he says you have a year in the town to get your property back. Now, if he does not get it back by the end of the year, then the house in the town will become the property of him who gave the money for it. In other words, that's his property. And for his children forever. And it will go not from him in the year of Jubilee. That's that 49th year, that 50th year. But the houses in the small unwalled towns will be the same as the property in the country. They may be got back, and they will go back to their owners in the year of Jubilee. But the houses in the towns of the Levites may not be got back by the Levites at any time. See, the Levites are special people. They are to minister to the Most High in whatever right that tribe was designated to minister. Now, if a Levite does not give back money to get back his property, his house in the town which was exchanged for money will come back to him in the year of Jubilee. That's what he's saying. Regardless, the Levites going to get their money back. For the houses of the towns of the Levites are their property amongst the children of Israel. In other words, that's their portion. They minister to the Most High, and they also minister to you, Israel. Now, but the land on the outskirts of the town may not be exchanged for money, for it is their property forever. In other words, the Levites were allowed a certain amount of property. Yes. Now, he said that if your brother becomes poor, is not able to make a living, then you are to keep him with you, helping him as you would a man from another country who is living among you. Oh, you let people in the United States, yet you are not keeping him, but you want to keep everybody out of the United States. Oh, God got something for you. Don't, in verse 36, it says, don't take no interest of him in money or in goods, but have the fear of your God before you, and let your brother make a living among you. Do not take interest on money which you let him have, or on the food which you give him. In other words, he gives back to you, oh, I want this with it. No, God says, no, that is sin. It is against the law. You don't give that land back in Jubilees, it's against the law. Every nation will be judged on how he treated Israel. Period. Whether he has that law or not. Because Israel is the foundation of the example for how the world should live. Period. But they have not become the example, because they follow other nations, and they have caused shame. Yes. Now, I am your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, give you the land of Canaan. Now, I give you the land of Canaan, he said, that I might be your God. Now, whoever's living on there, there's going to be a Jubilee. You're going to give it back. You're going to give it back, whether by force or just by giving it back. You're going to give that land back, period, regardless of what you say. Now, I am your God. Now, if your brother becomes poor and gives himself to you for money, indentured servitude, not slavery, do not make use of him like a servant who is your property. In other words, what he's saying is that of other nations. Now, he goes on and says, but let him be with you as a servant working for payment till the year of Jubilee. In other words, your brother, he's going to work for you. I work for you for money, man. I'm out of work. If you can just employ me, feed me, give me a house or something. Okay? And he's going to work until the year of Jubilee. Then you have to let him go. Now he says, now when he go out from among you, he and his children with him, and go back to his family and to the property of his fathers. In other words, he gets everything back after that 49th year. Regardless. His father may have died, but still his son gets that property back. Now, so they are my servants whom I took out from the land of Egypt. They may not become property of another. He's talking about Israelites. For those of you who wants to re-slave us, we're not your slaves. Okay? Now, but you may get servants as property from among the nations around about. From them you may take men servants and women servants. Now, what is he saying? He's saying the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hittites, any nation, white, black, rich, or poor. He said, God says, because I have given you this land. I have made you the pinnacle of everything. Everything is less than you before me. Because I am the God of all spirits, even the Father of all spirits. Because I set you as the apple of my eye. Yes. But then what happened? We did not do what God says. And so he made what? Us the tail and them the head. But that's going to turn around. Yes, that's going to turn around. Who is God to do this? The Creator. Okay, now, he said, in addition, you may get for money servants among the children of other nations who are living with you, and from their families which have come to birth in your land. And these will be your property. And they will be your children's heritage after you, and to keep as their property. And they will be your servants forever. But you may not be hard masters to your countrymen, the children of Israel. You may not be hard master. In other words, you don't even beat your servant. If there's no call for it, why are you doing this? They're not your children. They're just your servant. Now, he said, if one from another nation living among you gets wealth, and your countryman at his side becomes poor and gives himself for money to the man from the other nation, or to the one of his family, after he has given himself, he has the right to be made free for a price by one of his other brothers. Now you have to realize, during the time of slavery, even the heathen call themselves trying to follow this Leviticus 25. Yes, Christians, Muslims, they all tried it. They all can't do it the way God said do it. No. They did it in a nasty, ugly, sorry way. The law, they did not even follow the laws. Come on here. Now, after he has given himself, he has the right to be made free for a price by one of his brothers. In other words, somebody, when God said to buy you back, when he said you in Deuteronomy 28:68, nobody's going to buy you. Nobody's going to buy your freedom back. Not even your own brother. Now, or his father's brother, or his son, or his father's brother, or any near kin. If he gets money, he may make himself free. Now, this is what they did back then. In other words, he brought his freedom. He paid for his freedom. Nobody else paid for his freedom. Didn't know if he was taken from Africa. Didn't no African come over here paying for his brother's freedom. No, he didn't do it. Mansa Musa didn't do it. Nobody. The man had to pay for his own freedom. Now, if there's still a long time, he will give back on account of it a part of the price which was given for him. And if there was only a short time, he will take account of it with his master, and in relations to the number of years he will give back the price of making him free. In other words, during that time, man was the machine. Okay? Now, you put it that way, if you get it. I hope you're not that dense. But anyway, 53. And he will be with him as a servant, working for payment year by year. His master is not to be cruel to him before your eyes. Now that's what he's saying. Listen what he's saying. Everything goes for everybody. Now if he is not made free in this way, he will go out in the year of Jubilee, he and his children with him. Now he can go out free if he gets out. If he has a wife, the master can keep him until the year of Jubilee. This is what God is saying. Now in the year of Jubilee, he gets his wife back and his children. Yes. He gets his wife and his children back. If he's still living and she's still living and his children there, or at the end of the part of the Jubilee, yes, he gets them all back. For the children of Israel are servants to me. They are my servants, whom I took out of the land of Egypt. I am your God. Now, some of them say, oh, how would you say serve a God that enslaved children? He didn't say he enslaved children. Did he say that? He said he and his children are with him. They can go out in the year of Jubilee. Don't listen to these heathen and what they say. You go back and read that word in context and see what God says. Yes, he's going to take the children of other nations and enslave them with their parents. Yes, that's what he said. Because they were caught up what? In war. They didn't just go out looking for servants. No. You have to read the whole thing in context. See, you got people here that are on these social media platforms that are accusing God of being unrighteous. They're accusing God, but God is the creator. He chose a people. See, until you, Israel, start looking at yourself as more than the heathen, you will still be less than nothing. You will still be the tail. You let people run over you, delete you, beat you, steal from you, and yet you still sit by watching around with a phone. Trying to say, oh, we're going to get our right. You take a right. You don't give it. They don't give you nothing. You have to take that right. Whether you take it through court, and at the last resort, you take it by force. You have to take your own rights. Yes, you have to. Because nothing is not free. It's not free. Nothing is free. They may make you think it's free, but it's not. But regardless, God is not unrighteous. You are unrighteous. Your way is not right. God's way is fair. Because you shouldn't have took the land that he's given his people. And with that, I'm going to say peace.